And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go see our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're in Cheviot. They're on Harrison Avenue, right in the Dora district. So you can go from bar to bar with your drinks, or you can just hang out at Hail Mary's. They've got 27 TVs, a 9-screen video wall. They have the DirecTV Sports package with all the games. So everything that's on DirecTV can be streamed and shown at Hail Mary's, including all Cincinnati sports, which will be on the 9-screen video wall. They have a brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines, and of course, you can get your ice-cold Cincy Light in 32.8-degree frosted glasses. All right, Aaron, let's get this ball rolling. It is Thursday night. We will not have a show tomorrow, as that is our one day off. But we have the spring game coming up on, or the spring showcase, if you will, coming up on Saturday. So we got that to get to a little bit. Connor Hickman entered the transfer portal today. So we have that to get to a little bit. But first off, Aaron, next Thursday, things will look a little bit different around here because happy to announce, I made it public on Twitter today, but happy to announce that on Thursday nights, not sure if it's going to be at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. It'll be at one of those two times when we get things worked out with JP. But the Road to Omaha, a college baseball / UC baseball podcast, predominantly UC baseball, but there will be some other stuff mixed in there. They will be joining the BCJ network on Thursday nights, Aaron. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I told you to keep an eye on them, and that you did. And it sounds like it's worked out for all parties. So, no, I'm excited to see, obviously, any additional coverage you can get to baseball is a good thing. And, I know I'm myself am spread pretty thin. I'm not able to get to nearly as much. I'm kind of scoreboard watching right now with baseball. Thankfully, basketball's over and football is nowhere near beginning. So it should free up some time for both Bearcats and Reds baseball for me. But yeah, good to see somebody who's been involved with the program and is giving back in a way that he has found fun and entertaining for him, and to give back to all of the fans as well.
And if you don't remember, his older brother, Ty, also played football at UC. Right. He's actually one of Ryan Royer's best friends. So just keeping it in the family. We're expanding, but we're not expanding too far into the multiverse, if you will. So yeah, I talked to JP yesterday, kind of ironed everything out, and excited to have him on board. I think it's going to be a very positive addition for the BCJ family, and I'm looking forward to next Thursday night. Here's the thing, though. Be alert, because that show is only about a half-hour show. So it's not one of our meandering 2-hour shows that you can, like, pop in and pop out of throughout the evening.
For a lot of people, that's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, he asked me, he's like, do you, like, when we were talking about it, he's like, am I going to be the co-host and you're the host? Or I was like, God, no. These people get enough of us. We need some fresh blood infiltrating the network. So a week from tonight will be the debut on the BCJ network for Road to Omaha, the UC baseball podcast with JP Sponseller. So very excited about that. They've got Texas Tech, I believe, this weekend. So check out the Bearcats this weekend. Good job by Keegan, by the way. He was the color commentator the past couple days for UC baseball. So there you go. We'll start with the spring showcase, Aaron. That is kind of the hot topic that we'll be there Saturday. I'll be there. You'll be there. I think Keegan and Dave will be there. Reagan will be there. So the BCJ team will be out in full force. Dave and I talked about it a little bit last night. I do expect, just from talking to Scott Satterfield the other day, there will be a lot of 11 on 11, but it won't be like a scrimmage game. It'll be a lot more like a practice setting,
situational.
Situational. You start at the 20, you start at the 50, you do red zone, you start at like your own 1 yard line, try to get out of jail free, stuff like that. So I think it's going to be situational, but I do think there should be a bunch of 11 on 11. There is autograph signings afterwards. There's a pregame tailgate with John Cunningham if you've been invited. I also know our friends at Republic of Cincinnati, I believe, are going to be set up. So check out them on Twitter. But what are you looking for on Saturday, Aaron?
Well, you've talked a little bit in different spaces about Samaj Jones. I'm certainly excited to see what his progression looks like. Let's start right at the quarterback position. So we know kind of what we have in Sorsby, although, look, I want to see him throwing it more than 15 yards if he's out there at least a couple times, just to show me he can do it again, because I forget what that looks like out of his hands. But I think that's the big one for me is just to see what his progression looks like. We got to see him a little bit last year as far as in the spring football game. Obviously, we didn't see him, and in camp, we didn't see any of him during the season. But you'd think after a year in the program that we should see some type of progression there, and hopefully not just scrambling around as we feel like we saw more often than not last year.
No, he's made, because I was pretty down on him last year. Like I just didn't see a lot of I didn't see a lot of touch. I didn't see a lot of, standing in the pocket and being able to read a defense and make plays. He has looked significantly better this spring than he looked. And obviously some of that is difficult. You're in fall camp, you're getting ready for the season. He was new, and then you're in season practices. He's not going to get a lot of reps. Like, he's not going to be a guy that's out there taking a lot of snaps, but he has taken a lot of snaps this spring, and I've seen a lot of good from him. Satterfield said Tuesday he's going to be out there a lot. We're going to see him a lot on Saturday, because you're not going to risk Sorsby in a situation like that. You'll see some Brady Lichtenberg, but the goal will be,
we know what Brady is at this point.
Right. So I'm excited to see Samaj in that setting, because I think he's had a good spring. He's a guy that I was a little stressed about when he got here, in terms of how long is it going to take him to kind of work through some of the stuff that a lot of young quarterbacks kind of handle and deal with. So I'm excited to see him too, and that's on the back of, I have felt good about what we've seen from him so far this spring.
On the flip side of that, I'm also excited
to talk for a second. I got to let the puppy out. She's driving me nuts.
On the flip side of that, I'm excited to see what is going on with the wide receiver room, as I am unfamiliar with really this entire wide receiver room. And you could almost lump in the tight end room outside of Joe Royer with that as well. We hadn't got to see much of anybody last season that was in the tight end room that has moved along to this season, and you can say the same for the wide receivers that have moved into this season as well. But at the top of the wide receiver depth chart, I would imagine you're pretty much brand new guys coming in from all of the transfer portal. So I am very curious to see what they look like. There's been some rave reviews there, but yeah, there's a ton of question marks for me anyway at both those positions.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, obviously the offensive line and defensive line are interesting, but I just don't know.
It's hard to
what
really
you can glean from that in a
those types of practices
like this.
Yeah.
Because
you hope anyway that they're not going 100 miles an hour trying to. You might see some of that with twos and threes, trying to maybe earn a spot or show some coaches what they can do. But at least with the starters, I don't know. You almost want it to be like a Pro Bowl type setting where they're just kind of a gentleman's handshake that we're not going to go too hard. But that opens up secondary. I'm equally as curious as I am with the receivers to see what the secondary looks like. Plenty of turnover, I guess, if you will, at the corner position, at the safety positions, or even just guys graduating. They're not necessarily new guys, but guys that didn't get a whole lot of reps last season. So just wanting to see what that room looks like as well. Linebackers, not really anything I'm super concerned with at this point. I think linebackers largely a lot of known quantities. So I think for me it's pretty much outside of the backup quarterback, that tight end room, the wide receiver room, and the entire secondary.
Yeah. Jordan Robinson in the portal today, the young man that transferred from Kentucky last season. Unfortunately, I think it's a situation where with with Logan Wilson moving to corner, with Kai Stokes moving to corner, you had Matthew McDoom come in, you had Ormani Arnold, and then you start getting into like Gravy Johnson and Willie Goodwin and Daniel James that are all starting to come on.
Yeah.
I think he looked around and said, it might be smart for me to find a place where I'm not as in peril when it comes to my spot on the depth chart going into the season. So he fit all the measurables. I thought he played okay last year when he was given a chance. Like I thought he was okay, fine. But especially when you start to have those young guys nipping at your heels and you're a veteran, that's not a great place to be if you're wondering about your playing time for the 2025 season.
No, but that has to, as a fan of this team, that has to make you feel good about the young guys in this room that are starting to at least make a guy like Jordan Robinson concerned that there isn't a fit anymore.
Right. Then the other news of the day, Connor Hickman into the transfer portal. I think the original plan was for him to stay. But then you add two guards in Kirk Risa and Sincere Harris. Jizzle James is coming back. The expectation, I believe, is that Day Thomas will return. You have Keyshawn Tillery coming in. Again, crowded. Very crowded. And if you're just looking at the situation, I have a hard time believing when it comes to the financial pecking order, because let's not be stupid. This is pro sports, and how much you make is a factor in these decisions, whether you like it or not, whether coaches admit it or not. I would guess at least four of those guys are probably higher in the financial depth chart than Connor Hickman, and probably wise for Connor Hickman if he can get the waiver to go somewhere that he's going to be in. When he came in here last year, it was Jizzle and Day. And,
right.
That Dan, nobody wanted him to play the two. He ended up at the two, but like that wasn't the original goal. Like Connor was going to be in a 3-man rotation for 2 positions. That made sense. A 5-man rotation for 2 positions makes a lot less sense, Aaron. So
6,
I understand it.
Well, if he's here, it's 6-man rotation.
Yeah, that would be 6. Yeah. So, well, and then I do think Sincere Harris, I know he was telling people he's not a small forward, but I think you'll see him in 3-guard sets at times. But that's, if you're Connor Hickman, you're looking at it going, I don't know.
I don't want to take a victory lap because I know I was probably one of the harshest critics on him when he was coming to Cincinnati. That said, I don't feel like we ever got a fair shake to really get to know Connor Hickman on the court. He battled through a lot of injuries. He was still trying to figure out where he fit in. He never really got to play with both Jizzle and Day. There was just injuries pretty much the entire time. Yeah. So we never really got to see him in a real rotation. And then, of course, the injuries start to pile up on his poor little body. And I don't feel like we ever got a fair shake. So, I don't want to take a victory lap. I would have liked to have seen him at full go in what he was supposed to be, what he had planned to be in with this offense. So I don't know. It just seems like a unfortunate thing for both sides.
Yeah. I do think there will be a visitor on campus from the transfer portal.
Good.
This weekend. I think it is a big guy,
Good.
So stay tuned to Bearcat Journal. As soon as I can put the name out there, I will. As soon as I get that green light. But yeah, I know about do it. Aaron, you have a wonderful Friday, and I will see you Saturday at noon at Nippert Stadium. And what should be like a low 60s, should be a delightful afternoon at Nippert Stadium. I'm looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
That's the nightcap. We'll see you next time right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.